smaller comet will hit first.
We now have the details.
Creating a tidal wave over 3,000 feet high. The larger comet is the size of New York City, 500 billion tons. If it can't be stopped, all life on Earth will perish.
Deep Impact is a disaster movie released in the late 1990s when there were 7 disaster movies in the theater at any given moment. Deep Impact's hook is how it is the smart disaster film, as it strove to be better scientifically accurate than your average blockbuster disaster porn film. This slice of film marketing was lost on me until I recently watched a few YouTube videos with acclaimed astrophysicist Neil Degrass Tyson, who praised Deep Impact for its scientific accuracy. I soon found a Blu-ray copy of the film at a thrift store for $2, making it my pick for movie night. While I found the film entertaining overall, it does overly fixate on a few uninteresting characters, which drags out its overall length. At times, the script felt like a first draft that needed polish. The film stars Robert Duvall, Tia Leoni, Vanessa Redgrave, Morgan Freeman, and Elijah Wood, and is directed by Mimi Leader.
So, Sarah, what did you think of my choice for movie night, Deep Impact?
I thought it was great. That was a great pick, Kevin.
Okay, great. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching.
It's a great action flick. The acting was pretty good. I do have a couple of critiques about the beginning of the movie. Tia Leoni's character, who played the journalist, I found that piece was a bit confusing. I think she was sort of playing the audience at that point.
Yeah, let's a placeholder for the audience. You mean?
Yeah,
okay.
I would say.
Yeah,
that.
let's just talk a little bit about the beginning of the movie. It was a little jarring because it starts off as a political thriller.
Yes.
James Cromwell was some sort of government agency. Bureaucrat dude who was caught in a sex scandal, right?
Yes.
And the woman's name in the scandal, she finds out that the woman's name is Ellie because he was always on the phone talking to someone named Ellie and whatever. But then it turns out that Ellie was the code word for, and this is a minor spoiler, it's at the beginning of the movie, but it's a code word for the disaster of this comet that's coming towards Earth. So it's a little bit of a different opening for this kind of film. Like the movie does strive to tell the human element of like not only tries to be scientifically accurate, but also give you some sort of characters to latch onto while this. Like it wants you to care about the people who are in the film, right?
Absolutely, and I think that it succeeded in that. As we find out, well, as the public finds out, the government is doing all sorts of things to mitigate this comet from hitting Earth. Anyway, the human element where the public is scared to death. They're just absolutely petrified of what could possibly happen.
Yeah.
And this happened over a series of months. And anyway.
that's one thing that they did get right was the amount of time that it would take the comet to reach Earth for us to detect a comet that size or an asteroid that size that would be big enough to crash into the Earth and create enough havoc to destroy life. A massive amount of life on Earth. We would be able to detect that way far in advance, like at least a year, maybe probably even more, and would have time to prepare for it. Whereas in Armageddon, I think they did it was like just a few weeks, which is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It just would not happen. We would know that it was coming well in advance. Not that there's anything necessarily that we could do about it, but there's a chance.
And while all this is happening, of course, they're concentrating on one family in particular, and we have Elijah Wood and Lily Sobieski, and
so they were the two junior astrophysicists. They were just amateur.
They liked looking at the stars.
Yeah, and they were amateurs, and they were in some sort of astronomy class, and they're the ones who discovered the comet coming towards Earth. And so the movie does follow along their story. a bit, and that was the part where I thought that, I mean, those two characters kind of served their purpose. They found the comet, and then I mean, we could have just moved on. I mean, we could have just moved on. I was more interested in the actual comet itself and the effects that it would have on Earth. I didn't really care too much about their story.
You felt that was a little shoehorned in there?
Well, not shoehorned. It's just like, why are we carrying on with these people? They found it. There's nothing they can do about it. They're just a couple of kids.
Yeah.
You know, so their story was kind of like over, but they didn't do enough in the beginning of the film when they first discovered the comet to make me think, oh, well, what's going to happen to those two kids? Are they going to come out okay? Like, it just didn't matter. But the movie seemed to think that it should matter a lot.
The other thing too is Denise Crosby was also in this film, and I found that she was underserved big time. Like, she was there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Star Trek. Tasha Yar.
She might have had 2 lines in the whole movie.
Yeah.
So I felt that that was kind of a throwaway kind of thing, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if her scenes might have been cut out from the movie, or
maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is. So, like, I did a little bit of a background check. That means I read the Wikipedia page on the movie, and I found out that the movie it's loosely based on an Arthur C. Clarke book. I can't remember which one, or story or short story or something. And they kind of moved so far away from his original story that they felt like as if they didn't really need to give him credit. Like, yeah. And of course, I guess that kind of annoyed him. But apparently the movie had been sitting on various producers' desks. Like, the script has been moved around since the 1970s. And eventually it ended up with Paramount. And then when Paramount found out that, I can't remember what studio was making Armageddon, they kind of like fast-tracked this movie. They kind of like, oh, we'll make this, and then we'll get Steven Spielberg to direct it. But then Steven Spielberg was making Amistad. Oh, okay. And so he couldn't make it. So then they just got this Mimi Ledger to direct it, and they just kind of did it quickly. So, and I think the movie kind of suffers from that, because it does feel like as if it was a little bit rushed, like they were trying to get into the theater at the same time as Armageddon, or around the same time. I don't know why. Hollywood feels like as if they need to do that. I don't know why they feel like as if there's one movie coming out by a studio, the other studio has to respond to it, or maybe they feel like as if they need to take.
They have to one up the other.
Well, like if they feel like Armageddon's going to be like this huge successful movie, then they got to come in and take a piece of that, or something. I don't know. Maybe. Yay, capitalism. But it was kind of ridiculous. I don't know. It was just kind of ridiculous that both of those films were out at the same time. It'd be interesting to see what Steven Spielberg would have done with this movie if he was given the opportunity. It would have been something else. Yep. I do want to say that the special effects, even for the late 90s, aged fairly well. Like, there are a lot of CG effects. A lot of it wasn't great.
Yep, I have to agree with that.
Out of all the stuff that I've seen and remember from the late 90s, this was kind of decent. I mean...
Well, and I really enjoyed the practical effects. There was a part nearing the end of the movie where it showed people trying to escape the city from this comet that was...
The comet was headed towards an ocean, so people who were living on the coastal cities were trying to
get out.
Trying to get away from the coast, because it was going to create a tsunami. Yeah, and
it showed this road, this highway, and it was just cars for as far as the eye could see. Yeah, and they were all real. Yeah, it was all real. There was no, CGI cloning of cars.
Yeah, they do that sometimes. Or even in this film, like, there was some shots where you could tell that there was like a group of people, and you could tell that they had about 30 extras, and they would just kind of shoot around them. Like, they made it appear like as if there was more, but then in the frame you'd only see about 30, and they tried to make it look like it was as if there's more behind them. They do that trick all the time. But for this shot, they actually got I don't remember exactly where the movie was filmed, but there was just a brand new stretch of highway that was built, and the movie kind of lucked into being able to film there They did a huge casting call and got like a bunch of extras, like hundreds of extras, and they shot this part of the film over the course of 2 days, and it looks great. It doesn't look phony. It doesn't look fake. Because they actually did have a ton of vehicles on there. And they actually disguised the craft service tables and the porta potties and that with U-Haul trucks. They were on there for 2 days. It was hot and everything, and people need to use the washroom and have something to eat. So
yep.
Very well done part of the film. That was probably the most impressive effect, even though it wasn't really an effect, but it was the most impressive shot in the entire film.
Yeah, and for all the issues of the movie, I still found it very enjoyable.
Yeah, I do. Overall, I did enjoy it, but yeah, I do feel like as if it just kind of, I don't know, spent a little too much time with characters that just didn't matter.
Yeah, like they had James Cromwell.
Cromwell, yeah, he's
Cromwell there, and he was there for a couple scenes, and then see you later, and it was like, okay.
Yeah, it was almost like there was a part at the beginning of the film where she's trying to piece together what this
scandal
is, right? Mm-hmm. And he's got a bunch of food stocked away, like Boost or something, or Ensure.
It was Ensure.
Yeah, in like these boxes and that. And then he's getting on his boat.
Yes.
And he's going to take off, and she noticed, like, hey, he's got a bunch of Ensure on that boat. Like he's going away for
a long time.
And the funny thing is I thought that was interesting. Like, follow that guy around. Like, did he succeed wherever he went with his boat? Did he make it?
I'm wondering.
And if
how was that Ensure?
Well, and the comet was coming like a year. Like at that point in the film, it wasn't going to arrive until like a year later.
Yeah.
So why was he taking off now? Like, he was getting on his boat and going. I could see like a month before or something, but he was going like a. Anyways, it would have been more interesting, I think, if they followed that guy around to see where he went instead of Elijah Wood.
That would be interesting.
Anyways,
right.
So there you go. So that is our review of Deep Impact, a 27-year-old film that most people have either forgotten or
check it out. I mean, it was
decent.
It was decent. It was entertaining. It did have some problems, but yeah, it was okay. It was a decent story. Disaster soon to be.
Out of all the disaster films from the late 90s, a lot of the corny and cheesy ones, like, I mean, I did see Armageddon back then. I went to the theater to see Independence Day. And when Deep Impact came out, it was just, I was kind of exhausted. I was over it. I didn't care for those two movies, and I wasn't really interested in watching another one. And if they would have played up a little bit more of, hey, we're trying to, make this a little more scientifically accurate. We're trying to make it believable. I might have gone to the theater to see it at the time, but instead I sat on it for 27 years until Neil deGrasse Tyson made a few videos about it. Or not about that, but about movies in general and how that one.
Well, he brought you to this one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Oh, what'd you think about the astronauts and everything on them?
That, okay.
So there is a part in the film where the NASA, the world community, does try to take care of the comet before it reaches Earth, and they send astronauts to the comet, and their plan is to drill into it and set off some explosions on it to break it up before it enters Earth's atmosphere.
Truth, forgettable.
Well, there we go. Yeah, like all that stuff.
Sorry, but I found it forgettable, and
Yeah. Like it was like a mesh of different ideas that were coming together.
Yeah, that part was forgettable. Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
That's about all I have to say about that.
This is one of those films that, like, when you review it, it sounds like as if we didn't like it as much as we did, because I did enjoy myself. I'm keeping it in our collection.
Mm-hmm. We'll probably watch it again.
Probably at some point, maybe in another 27 years from now.
Maybe
we might get to it again. But it was okay. But yeah, all right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, yeah, like we said, there's some problems, but
But overall,
yeah, I would
did its thing.
would watch it again. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's it for this review. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care. We'll see you in the next video, I guess.
All right.
We're doing another one?
Hope so.
Okay.
Bye.